how'd you get from the no person or the Taliban zone into the airport? What happened?
Yeah. Um, it's when they contacted me, my father friends, uh, they asked me to send in some information, like live locations, some pictures, and a list of they asked me a list of information, and at that time I wasn't sure if I can provide every single piece of information they asked for, and it was quite challenging and uh, risky
And
because
you were doing this while you were sitting in the bus, waiting,
yes,
right? At
yeah,
in the middle of the night, right?
yeah, it was
And the
one day.
Taliban were around you, and you didn't know what was going on. And you sent the information. What did they do with the information? How did you get out of this situation? And how are 7 buses of women saved and put into the Kabul airport?
Uh, I have to say that it was difficult because we were like advised to not use our cell phones, not to communicate with anyone because of security risks. If the Taliban catch us, they will like do bad stuff to us. Like the best case scenario, they would have killed us. And at that time, I had these feelings in me that do I really want to take the risk? But then I managed my fear and I said like someone has to do something. Like we are almost at the end of the story, so it's either do or die kind of situation. And I said like, even if I die, at least I'd fight for it. So I sent information, I take some pictures. I still remember why I was shaking when I was taking those pictures from surrounding to kind of create a situational awareness. And then I sent it to all those information. So I did not know what they did to that information until I made it to United States and I met all of them in person. And then they say that how every single one of them worked so hard, and then it was not one person particularly, but it was the group work. It was a teamwork, and it was a chain of teamwork. So everyone participated, everyone did it. Crucial part that information that we are being saved. When I send them information, they send it to another organizations, and that organization send it to another individual, and then that individual finally send it to Ministry of Defense, and then someone else contacted the Ministry of Defense and saying like, okay, this is an emergency situation. These guys need help. That is the last moments of their life, and we need to support them. So finally, the information is being transferred to someone who was in charge of making decisions and DOD. And then that that person released the decision and we are being saved. Up to now, till they we don't know the terms of negotiation between the United States government and the Taliban.
So they
Because
had to negotiate your release.
I guess, yes, it
Hmm.
is enough because the Taliban was not letting us to pass it under any other circumstances. And one thing to remind you, it was the day after the Kabul airport explosion.
Right.
Uh, the explosion that caused the death of like massive civilians and also like around 13 U.S. servicemen and women, the soldiers that they died in Kabul airport. So our day was like our releasing or escaping day was the day after that
The day
explosion.
after, so
So
people
yeah,
were on edge.
and a lot of things were like really sensitive.
Hmm.
And one thing else to remind you, like the U.S. forces were in the Kabul airport. They were like ready to evacuate people who worked with the U.S. government, United States government. And the problem was no one was showing up. And they were thinking that maybe these people are facing fear that not showing up. But the reality was different. Gates were being controlled by the Taliban, and the Taliban was not allowing anyone to get and pass the
I
gates
see.
and get in Kabul airport. And they would have said, okay, we don't have problem. No one is showing up to leave that gates. So it was a
Uh,
kind of miscommunications.